Good morning. Whether you are here in person or watching from home, it is good to be with you this morning, and it is good for all of us to be together. As we gather together this morning for worship, let me share words with you from the poem, "The Peace of Wild Things" by Wendell Berry. When despair for the world rose in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be. I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars, waiting with their light. For a time I rest in the grace of the world, and I am free. Come, my friends, with our hearts open to both the challenges and the possibilities that this new day and this new week bring. With our hearts open to all that inspires, sustains, redeems, and transforms us. Come, let us worship together.
If you have a challenge at home, I
This flame. We commit ourselves to nurturing the Spirit.
Good morning. My name is Warren Keys. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm glad to serve as part of your worship team this morning. Whether you are a first-time visitor or a long-time member, I'd like to offer you a very special welcome. Here at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Raleigh, we are intentionally inclusive, liberally religious. Well, we are that too, right? And actively serving the common good of our shared world. Whoever you are and wherever you are on your own religious journey, you are most certainly welcome here. This morning, one of our lay ministers will be available in the front right corner of the sanctuary. They'll be there after the service to talk with anyone who might be experiencing any difficult circumstances in their lives and would like to talk to someone. I hope all of you will read through or have read through the chalice that was emailed to you on Friday. It has everything about things that are happening around here at UUFR, or you could just check the upcoming events section of our website. Now I'd like to highlight a few things. Believe it or not, next weekend is Memorial Day. That means next Sunday, May 24th, we begin our summer worship schedule. Starting next Sunday and lasting through Labor Day weekend in September, we will only have one service at 10:30 a.m. We will have social hours both before and after the service. Our in-person social hour this morning will be downstairs in Founders Hall. If you're new this morning, you are especially welcome to join us. And I'd like to remind everyone to please make a special effort to say hello to anyone who is new. Again, today after the service, we're also going to be celebrating the end of our Whole Lives, or OWL, Comprehensive Sexuality Education Workshop. That workshop's for the fifth graders, 8th graders, and adults. But over the year, we've also held OWL programs for 1st and 10th and the 11th graders, which means we've held over 85 hours of OWL workshops for 53 members of our community. Now, OWL is empowering, life-saving learning that is only possible because of the amazing volunteer facilitators who go through rigorous training and to lead these programs. Now, we want to thank new volunteer facilitators Stephen Rentz, Stephanie Raymond, Jennifer Williams, Tanya Faisal, and Stephan Bird, as well as to extend our gratitude for returning facilitators, Anisha Nix, Tom Karchis, Ava Maid, Zane Patorti, Stephen Colbert, David and Tina Ostergaard, Myra Hupfeld-Cuisino, Ellie Rayfield, and Nancy Stone. To celebrate, we are lucky enough to have 3 live owls from the American Wildlife Refuge that will be outside in the lower courtyard. Yes, real birds, between Peace Hall and Fellowship Hall, and I hope everyone will come. And now we have a special announcement from our board. Hello. You like that, didn't you? I'm Warren Keyes, and I serve on your board of directors, and I'm your vice president. Now, as board, we're committed to keeping you informed about important events and decisions in the life of our fellowship. So I'm here to talk to you about the status of this year's pledge campaign and, relatedly, next year's budget. Overall, the fellowship is in excellent financial shape, but this year's pledge campaign fell a bit behind last year's, and our expenses, particularly the cost of health insurance for our staff, are increasing. As a result, we are looking at a shortfall in next year's budget of approximately $25,000. Now, $25,000 is less than 5% of the fellowship's total budget, but it is a meaningful amount of money. So we want to communicate proactively with you about the decisions we're making as a board to address that shortfall. First, we are exercising fiscal discipline. We're committed to balancing the budget and to leaving our rainy day reserves in the bank where they belong. Second, our top financial priorities are to provide programming for our children and youth and to sustain our staff. We will also prioritize supporting our internal organizations that do social justice and other ministries. Now, no decisions about cuts have been made yet, but with regret, we would likely look to reduce our contributions to external organizations that we are very proud to support, organizations like UU Justice Ministry of North Carolina, organizations like One Wake, and even the Unitarian Universalist Association. Now, many of us care deeply about these organizations, but to send money, we have to raise it. That's why the board is making this special announcement today. Our church is big and strong. It's growing, and there's great enthusiasm for the future. We believe that many of us can do just a little more and want to come to the support of our community's priorities. Now, if you cannot give right now, please do not worry. Others will give money now. You will help in other ways, and surely you'll be able to give money another day. We are all in this together. Now, if you are someone who can give now, please help the fellowship eliminate next year's deficit by making a pledge, increasing your pledge, or making a one-time gift. To do any of those things, please call the church office or email at office@uufr.org. And thank you so much for your support, your generosity, and your attention. I now invite you to meet and greet your neighbors.
Shot.
me call you back together. Oh, you're good. You're good.
Where I am.
I hope you will continue many of those conversations at social hour after the service. This is a time when we acknowledge some of the joys and sorrows of our community. We do this because we believe a joy shared is a joy made greater, and a sorrow or concern shared is sometimes made easier to bear. The Reverend Sasha Ostrom is the former assistant minister of this congregation and now serves a congregation in New Jersey. Donovan John Ostrom, Reverend Sasha's father, died on Friday. May we hold Reverend Sasha and her family in our hearts during this time of grief. Bonnie Tilson and David Raineye celebrated their 45th wedding anniversary on May 16th. Yeah. David says time truly does fly when you're having fun. Congratulations, Bonnie and David. We have a couple of job-related joys this morning. Jim Wood shares that he was laid off without warning in October, but this week started a new job that he likes even better than the old one. And Laura Overton shares that her husband Scott has found a new job in his field after a several months-long search. Though he'll have a lot of travel, the family doesn't have to move. Congratulations to both Jim and Scott. As we hold these joys and these sorrows in our hearts and reflect on the joys, sorrows, hopes, and fears of our own lives, let's be together in a few moments of stillness and silence, opening ourselves to that Spirit within us and between us and amidst us, called by many names but known to every human heart, that Spirit that leads us to a fuller, deeper, richer experience of life. After the silence, we'll sing hymn number 123, Spirit of Life. But now, let's be together in stillness and in silence.
As a member of your board of directors, I will be downstairs at social hour after the worship service. If anyone has any questions you'd like to ask me about the board, talk to me about any concerns you may have, or just to say hi. Everything we do at UUFR is only possible because of the generous financial support that so many of us provide. For those of you who have set up automated giving to UUFR or send in a check by mail every month, I'd like to thank you now for your generosity. Here at UUFR, we designate one Sunday each month as Justice Sunday, and all the money collected during our offering is given to a local or a national nonprofit organization. Today is our Justice Sunday, and Wake Up, Wake County is the recipient of today's offering. Tom Barry, Board Chair for Wake Up, Wake County, will tell us a little more with the video message.
Good morning. I'm Tom Barry. I chair the board of Wake Up, Wake County. On behalf of our executive director, Bert Fox, and our board of directors, I want to sincerely thank the Environmental Justice Ministry team at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Raleigh for selecting us to receive the Justice Sunday collection. For 2 decades, Wake Up has consistently been a leading voice representing citizens and land use issues like climate, transit, clean water, schools, housing, and open space. We are the only organization in the region that has consistently engaged diverse constituencies to educate and advocate for equitable and sustainable development. The 3 pillars of our current strategic plan guide us in educating and advocating for diverse housing types and affordable housing options that support compact, complete communities, multimodal transit networks, walkable, healthy neighborhoods, and transit-oriented development, and environmental stewardship through promoting auto-light built environments and minimizing sprawl and loss of tree canopy, habitat, open space, and watersheds. We are also in the process of creating a smart growth alliance with other aligned organizations. I invite you to visit our website and attend our events, including the Accessory Dwelling Unit Accelerator Program and tour on June 6. Wake Up led the advocacy campaign that resulted in legalizing ADUs in Raleigh in 2020. Our impacts have been made possible by member, community, city, and foundation support. We are especially grateful for the support of the UUFR community, which will further our commitment and efforts to engage members and partners and leaders to create a thriving, equitable, and sustainable future for one of the fastest growing regions in the United States. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom Barry, for your words about Wake Up, Wake County. Now, if you would like to make a contribution in person this morning, we invite you to bring it forward and put it in one of our offering plates at the top of the aisle. If you would prefer to have an usher come to you, please raise your hand. You may also give one of the methods you will find by one of the methods you'll find on the screen. Our offering will now be given and gratefully received. Our reading this morning is a single quotation from Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Pip, dear old chap, life is made of ever so many partings welded together.
Let's show all of our musicians this morning just a little bit more appreciation. Thank you, Jean Marie. Thank you, Tatiana. Thank you, choir. It would be cliche to say it seems like it was only a short time ago that Hiromi, Kai, and I were driving across the United States from Washington State to North Carolina so I could begin my ministry with this congregation. But even though it has been nearly 7 years, that's how it feels. Yet you have wisely and wonderfully selected the Reverend Dr. Elizabeth Stevens to be your next lead minister beginning in August. And I have been selected to be the next minister at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship at Stony Brook on Long Island in New York State, also beginning in August. Thank you. Seems like I am just moving from one part of the country to another part of the country where the iced tea can kill you, just in different ways. But it is now time for us to begin to say goodbye to one another. I have sometimes struggled in my life to know how to say goodbye. I remember trying to say goodbye to a particular student when I was in Japan and teaching English. I often socialized with my adult students outside of class, and one day this particular student had an extra ticket to a Paul McCartney concert at Tokyo Dome. and invited me. After the concert, the student and I headed for a small restaurant where we could sit and talk. The student told me that she enjoyed the class she was taking, and I responded that I enjoyed the class too. The textbook I had chosen for this class was Stories from Lake Wobegon. And this is true. And twice a week, the class met to listen and discuss recordings of Garrison Keillor telling stories about his mythical hometown. I worried for a while that all of my students would end up speaking English with a Minnesotan accent, but luckily that didn't happen. I hope you'll stay at the school for a long time, the student told me. The school had recently had a rapid turnover in teachers. Well, I said, and explained that I would be leaving the school in a very short time because I had accepted a promotion and would be doing teacher training for new teachers at the school's training center. Oh, she said softly, as tears welled up in her eyes. Don't worry, I said, we can still keep in touch. Won't you be too busy with your new job, she asked, now wiping away a steady stream of tears with a tissue. I felt touched by how much I apparently meant to the student and felt terrible for leaving. And other people in the restaurant were beginning to give me really dirty looks as this woman sat across from me crying. Listen, I said, why don't we get together again in a few weeks? That would be nice, she said. So we met again in a few weeks. And again, a few weeks after that. And again, a few weeks after that. Each time unwilling to say goodbye to each other. And we ended up doing this for 3 years. And then we did the only thing we could. We got married. And it was only right before we got married that Hiromi told me that she cried when any teacher left the school, even the really bad ones. You could have told me that 3 years ago, I said, but I'm glad she did it. While I have sometimes struggled in my life to know how to say goodbye, one of the things that ministry has taught me is how prevalent goodbyes are in our lives. As our reading this morning told us, all of our lives are filled with goodbyes. In Dickens' words, ever so many partings welded together. With every hello, there is eventually a goodbye, even if you end up married. Anytime we face significant change in our lives, it probably involves some form of saying goodbye. Goodbye to others, and goodbye to parts of ourselves. Growing up, getting married, getting divorced, changing jobs, moving, giving birth, dying. All of these involve goodbyes. Ministry has also taught me how important it is to say goodbye well, though I think we end up paying much more attention to the beginnings of relationships than to their ends. With our goodbyes, there is a tendency among us to rush them, or hurry them, or avoid saying them at all. But why are goodbyes so important? You see, by my count, I have moved 19 times in my life. This upcoming move will be my 20th. And I have learned some important things about moving. There's always the temptation to just throw everything haphazardly in boxes and quickly seal them with packing tape with the self-deceptive promise to sort through them later. Has anybody ever done that? But I have learned that unless I spend time to sort through things and carefully select what will be wrapped, packed, and taken and what will be left behind, I end up hauling bulky, bulging boxes from one destination to the other that never really get unpacked. Without some care and attention, I end up getting weighed down wherever I move next. I don't think the process of ending relationships between people is that different. I've come to believe that goodbyes are important because they help us, they help keep us from being weighed down by our past. But if the goodbyes of our lives are prevalent and important, but hard to figure out how to do, what are any of us to do? Ministry has also taught me that having a good goodbye with others often involves saying 5 things. Thank you. I'm sorry. I forgive you. I love you. And finally, goodbye. My last Sunday morning service with this congregation won't be until Sunday, June 21st. But I want to begin the process of saying goodbye, at least my part of it, today, with all of you, this morning. So first of all, I want to say thank you. One of my deepest yearnings in life is to make a difference in the lives of individual people, in the lives of organizations, and in the lives of the larger community. But nobody, especially ministers, can make a difference by themselves. As I said on a previous Sunday morning, ministers are like vampires. We have to be invited in to do our thing. And all of you invited me in. You invited me into your individual lives. Ministers often judge themselves and are judged by others by the 3 B's. You know what the 3 B's are? Budgets, buildings, and butts. Butts and seats on Sunday morning. Well, when I have been most deeply moved during the past 7 years, it hasn't been by how many people showed up on a particular Sunday morning, but when some of you have told me that something I said on a Sunday morning or in a one-on-one conversation has made some kind of a difference in your lives. You invited me to lead change. You invited me in to lead change in this congregation. This morning, I am not going to stand in front of you and list all the ways this congregation is different from how it was 7 years ago, though I have done that in a 22-page report I've written for the board. The truth is that even though I initiated many, but not all of those changes, I couldn't have done any of them without all of you. It is only because of your trust, your openness to try new things, your willingness to step up, your generosity of time, money, and spirit, that those changes have been possible. You invited me in to deepen this congregation's relationship with the larger community, and we have done that through many of our social justice efforts, but especially through One Wake. Because of this congregation's efforts, alongside other One Wake congregations, a lot more money is available in Wake County for affordable housing. My hope is that you will continue those efforts after my departure, but that's not up to me. That is up to all of you. So I want to say thank you. I also want to say I'm sorry. While I am proud of the many things that we have done together, I am under no illusion that I am a perfect minister or a perfect human being. When any of you tempt me to think I might be, I just go home and spend some time with my wife and son, and they convince me otherwise. In my leadership of this congregation, I have done my best, I have truly done my best to always do what I thought was best for the long-term well-being of the congregation, even if that made some people upset with me. In fact, in a congregation of more than 500, I don't think one can be a good minister without upsetting a few people along the way. But I also know that I have disappointed some people in this congregation because I did not prioritize the things that they thought should be priorities. I also know that in moments of frustration or exhaustion, I have said things that I wish I had not said, or handled things in a way that I now wish I would have handled differently, and hurt people. For these incidents, which I hope have been few, I am sorry. I probably should also have rolled my eyes less frequently at board meetings. There's also this. At my last congregation, which was much smaller, I knew not only everybody's name, everybody's child's name, but everybody's dog's name. I also knew everybody's stories. In a congregation of this size, it would be unrealistic to expect any minister to know everyone that well. And I decided to stop beating myself up for that a while ago. But I do want to acknowledge that I truly would have liked to get to know many of you better than I did. So, I am sorry. But I also want to say I forgive you. When I came to this congregation 7 years ago, I came as a developmental minister, a minister hired for a fixed amount of time to help a congregation deal with specific long-term problems. So when I arrived here, I came with my eyes wide open. I knew this would be a challenging ministry. Still, the past 7 years took a greater toll on me as a human being than I originally expected. The pandemic. Anybody remember the pandemic, or have we all forgotten about the pandemic? The pandemic was challenging, and some staff transitions were challenging. Firing people takes a toll even when necessary, and hiring people takes time and energy. But what has taken the biggest toll is some of the conflict I have experienced within the congregation. I don't mind conflict when it is constructive and about important things. But some of the conflict I have experienced has been over petty issues and power struggles. Some of it was dealt with through triangulation, gossiping, and rumor mongering. A few times people attacked me personally and have just been plain mean. There was even a brief period of time when I considered walking away from this congregation, though I'm glad I didn't. On the one hand, this congregation has taken tremendous strides forward in how it deals with conflict constructively. On the other hand, I think the lay leadership of this congregation has at times spent too much time trying to make everybody happy, and some members of the congregation have failed to stand up to unacceptable behavior by other members. So is there something in my heart that I need to forgive? I think mostly I just need to name what I have experienced and also lift up my true hope that after Reverend Elizabeth arrives, some of you might occasionally say to some of our squeakier wheels, "We've listened to you enough, but now we're moving on to more important things." And when people triangulate or are gossipy or mean, say, "That's not how we handle conflict around here." But most of all, I want to say that I love you, and I truly do. I very deeply care about all of you who are parts of this congregation, and this congregation as a whole. And I will for the rest of my life, and I know this because I know how much I still care about the members of my first congregation. I didn't plan to care so much. In fact, I intended not to. I served my first congregation for 16 years, and leaving that congregation hurt so much, I swore I would never let myself care for another congregation so much again. Well, that didn't work out very well. You have all wiggled and wormed your way into my heart. So I will really miss you. And I imagine at least a few of you will miss me. So let me say this too. If you care about me at all, the very best thing that any of you can do is be as open-minded and open-hearted as you can be to the many and considerable gifts that Reverend Elizabeth will bring as your next lead minister. She and I are friends and colleagues, and we share a very deep commitment to Unitarian Universalist ministry and to helping congregations thrive. But we are also very different people with different styles, which is good. Frankly, when I arrived here 7 years ago, my job was to clean up a big mess, which required a certain style of ministry. And her job will be to love you as you are while leading you in new directions, which requires another style of ministry. Some of you will welcome the changes that Reverend Elizabeth will bring with open arms, as you should. She's nicer than I am. A few of you, though, may struggle for a time with those changes. But for those of you who do, I urge you, as I've already said, to be as open-minded and open-hearted as you can. Change is sometimes hard and it takes time to get used to. So I encourage you to give it time. No matter what, please do not put me up on some kind of a pedestal. My experience is that congregations tend to either romanticize or demonize their former ministers. And both of these tendencies, I think, are mistakes. For those former ministers who are romanticized, former ministers, I think, are like Saturday Night Live cast members from decades ago. People only remember the good stuff and have forgotten all the stuff that really bombed. So after I leave this congregation, I hope to be remembered fondly, but not too fondly. But now, my friends, we really do need to say goodbye. This is where it gets a little complicated. Often when a minister leads a congregation, there is almost a complete cut-off in communication between the minister and the congregation for at least a few years or sometimes longer. However, Reverend Elizabeth and I have known each other for more than 20 years, and we have a great deal of trust in one another. Furthermore, neither one of us believes that cut-offs, complete emotional cut-offs, are emotionally healthy. So for those of you who are friends with me on Facebook, I am not going to unfriend all of you, and you don't have to unfriend me. But the most I will probably do is wish you a happy birthday every year and make some pleasant comment about a picture that you post. However, I absolutely cannot and will not continue to be your minister. I cannot communicate with you about any problems you are experiencing in your life. I can't come back to Raleigh to officiate a wedding or memorial service for you or any member of your family. I especially cannot communicate with you about anything happening at UUFR. If you email me and say, Reverend Elizabeth has brought back the gong and we now ring it after every joy and sorrow, I will not engage you in further conversation. A congregation can only have one lead minister at a time. And frankly, I won't have time. My new congregation will keep me busy enough. And Nelson, you and Sue followed me from Washington State to Raleigh. And if you guys show up in Long Island, I'm going to start to get suspicious. So I'm telling you now, if you've got any unfinished business, now is the time to get it off your chest. In my former congregation, after I announced I was leaving, one member made an appointment to see me. When we sat down to talk, she first told me the 3 things that she had really appreciated about my ministry during the past 16 years. And then she reached into her purse and took out 2 folded sheets of notebook paper and proceeded to read me a long list of all the ways I had disappointed her during the past 16 years. I sat, listened as compassionately as I could, and told her I appreciated the feedback. If you need to do that, I'm willing to listen. But also, if you'd just like to have a pleasant chat here at UUFR, go out and talk over coffee, go out to lunch, or talk by Zoom, I'm up for that too. In fact, there is a link to make an appointment with me for any of those things in the chalice and on the front page of the website. Then on Sunday, June 21st, which will be my last day here at UUFR, we're going to have a big party, celebrate everything that we've done together, and have a final chance to say goodbye. Even then, though, we will still be a part of each other's lives, just in a different way. As the Chinese poet Quan Tao Sheng writes, take a piece of clay, wet it, pat it, make a statue of you and a statue of me. Then shatter them, clatter them, add some water, and break them, and mold them into a statue of you and a statue of me. Then in mine there are bits of you, and in you there are bits of me, and nothing shall ever keep us apart. So may it be. Amen. Will you now please stand as you are able for our closing hymn? Our closing hymn this morning is number 347. We laugh, we cry. We'll sing 3 verses.
We laugh, we cry, we live, we die, we dance, we sing our song. We need to feel there's something here to which we can belong. We need to feel the freedom just to have some time alone. But most of all, we need close friends we can call our very own. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a need to be together. We have our hearts to give. We have our thoughts to receive. And we believe that sharing is an answer. A child was born among us, and we feel a special glow. We see time's endless journey as we watch the baby grow. We thrill to hear imagination freely running wild. We dedicate our minds and hearts to the spirit of this child, and we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a time to be together. And with the grace of age, we share the wonder of youth. And we believe that growing is an answer. Our lives are full of wonder, and our time is very brief. The death of one among us fills us all with pain and grief. But as we live, so shall we die, and when our lives are done, the memories we shared with friends, they will linger on and on. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a place together. We have the right to grow. We have the gift to believe that peace within our living is an answer.
As we prepare to leave this time and place of worship, may we do so with ever more love for ourselves and for others, with ever more gratitude for this precious, precious, precious gift of life that we share among ourselves this very day, with ever more peace in our hearts, and with ever more hope for our own lives and this world we share. Amen.